Every baseball stat fan worth his or her salt knows the big baseball record. Hank Aaron, 755 home runs, Cy Young, 511 wins, Nolan Ryan, 5,714 strikeouts, 7 no-hitters. But what about those lesser-known gems? Who has the most errors? Who has the most hit batsmen? What follows is a list of the most bizarre baseball records of all time. Those flubs and gems that stupefy and spur the imagination. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the 8 of the weirdest plays in MLB history. So, let's get started. Juan Alvarez, 1999 to 2003, and Ed Alwine, 1986 to 1988. There have been plenty of poor pitchers to grace the rubber over the years. Anthony Young, a Mets starter who picked up a record of 27 losses in a row over 2 seasons before finally earning a win, comes immediately to mind. But at least he won, eventually. For Juan Alvarez and Ed Alwine, that was never the case. Each man pitched 80 games in the major leagues before hanging up his spikes, and each man retired from the pro game without ever earning a win. Yikes, and Anthony Young thought he had it tough. William Holbert, 1876 to 1888. Yes, the pre-Ruthian days of the game were known as the dead ball era. Still, that's no excuse for William Holbert. In 2,335 at-bats over the course of 13 seasons, Holbert didn't manage to hit a single home run. By contrast, in the first 2,335 at-bats of his career, Albert Pujols had already hit over 150 home runs. Luis Tiant, in 1968, 9 steal attempts, 9 caught stealing, 0 steals allowed, and 258.1 innings pitched. Last year was interesting in that Josh Tomlin pitched a full 165.1 inning season without a single runner attempt a steal on him. This was only the second time on record that this has ever happened, and the first was over half a century ago, in 1950. Tomlin's no-steal season, though, was just one of 22 instances of pitchers managing to hurl a full season without allowing a single stolen base. Whitey Ford holds an interesting title all on his own, as he threw 283.0 innings in 1960 without allowing a single steal. But then, only 3 runners even tried to steal on the lefty that year. The most impressive award has to go to Luis Tiant, who according to Junk Stats in 1968 pitched 258.1 innings without allowing a single steal, nabbing 9 runners along the way. Russ Nixon, 1957 to 1968. There's pitching position skill, and then there's offensive ineptitude. In a career that spanned 12 seasons with the Cleveland Indians, Boston Red Sox, and Minnesota Twins, lead-footed catcher Russ Nixon never once managed to steal a base. Even David Ortiz has 11 swipes in his career. It's not just indifference either. Nixon was caught stealing a number of times. With his incredible lack of base running prowess, Russ Nixon has managed to enshrine himself in the annals of baseball history. Ed Walsh, 1904 to 1917. Most fans know that the wins champ is Cy Young. Young is the all-time leader in losses too, but era, that's a record that most seem to have forgotten. The man who holds the record is Chicago White Sox righty Ed Walsh. To fully explain how dominant his career 1.82 era is, consider this. If now injured Mariano Rivera, the most dominant pitcher of our modern era, does retire, he and his lifetime 2.14 ERA will stand at only number 13 on the all-time list. Huey Jennings, 1891 to 1918. Many people remember that Craig Biggio, in his final year in the Bigs, made a run at this ignominious record, but he fell just short, leaving the crown safely in the hands of Hall of Famer Huey Jennings. Jennings had a lot going for him besides his ability to step onto a pitch and take one for the team. He managed to enjoy quite a long pro career, a 27-year span, by any player's standards, let alone for a guy who got beaned as much as he did. Gus Wang, 1887 to 1901. If someone's getting beaned by a pitch, someone else has to do the beaning. The all-time record holder for the most hit batsman is Gus Wang, who managed to drill a whopping 277 batters. He's another old-timer with a record in his hip pocket. Maybe umps didn't like to kick players out back then. Tony Mullane, 1881 to 1894. With 3.43 to his name, pre-MLB era professional player Tony Mullane is the all-time leader in wild pitches. This much is true, but given that Mullane played in an era of loose federations of professional ball, perhaps this award more rightly belongs to the second name on the all-time list, Nolan Ryan. Yes, strikeout king Nolan Ryan is the #1 all-time in the MLB record books for wild pitches, with a whopping 277. He also, despite his strikeout ability, holds by a large margin the all-time record for walks, with 2,795. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.